Which teams are staring down the most dangerous offenses in college football this year? We'll talk about that and where Mississippi State ranks. That's coming up next.
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bet now.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Jaron Spor. I'm a national college football writer at Athlon Sports. That's Landon McBride. We've got some football news for you because football is finally not only back, we just had games on Saturday, but Mississippi State kicks off the season this week. We told you last Friday that we kind of had a content calendar for the season, and we're like, well, Monday's show won't be exactly the calendar because they're not playing a game. But then we found these stats. We're like, hey, we can kind of tie it in. So basically, Mondays we're going to recap how the offense played, how the defense played, and that's kind of be Monday's show. That's kind of what we're going to do today, except for Kelly Ford, which is an analytics-driven rating. They do a really good job, and they do a really good job predicting how the playoff will come out and all this stuff. They do it for football and basketball, and they rank resumes, all this kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
They have Mississippi State with the 13, ranked number 13 in toughest offenses they will face this year. It's on a scale of 0 to 100. They got a 70.4. Number one was Arkansas at 78.6, so not far off.
Yeah.
And this is, based on the regular season schedule, obviously, and then that's based on the K Ford rating. So we've talked about the tough schedule, and then you're facing some of the toughest offenses in college football.
Yeah, like we've gone over how brutal this schedule is, but when you start breaking it down, offense versus defense, it tells the same story, but in a different way. Like right. With that offense, we've seen how high-powered some of these offenses have become. I mean, it was not that long ago where the SEC was the defensive conference. I mean, still great defenses, but you didn't see the 40, 50-point games where both teams putting up huge numbers. Right. That has changed, and there are so many good quarterbacks in the conference right now. I mean, you look at projected, way too early big boards, and there's 3 or 4 quarterbacks from the SEC that are in that top 10, 15 range for the next draft. So it's just brutal again. And yeah, there's a lot of SEC teams on this list. I mean, Arkansas is 1, Florida's 2, South Carolina's 3, A&M 4, Ole Miss is 7, Kentucky is 10, and LSU is 11. And then Auburn at 16. It's basically every SEC team is pretty much on here.
Yeah, they put their top 30, and Georgia's there, Alabama's there, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Missouri, Auburn, like you mentioned, obviously Mississippi State, LSU, Kentucky, Ole Miss. Texas A&M, South Carolina, Florida, Arkansas. Those 4 are the top 4, and so it's not like. And I know Mississippi State's schedule is harder than a lot of those teams, but it's not like these other teams are getting it easy either. It's going to be a tough road for a lot of them. And you mentioned it. The offenses are just so much better now. And that is one thing that is awesome to see, like the SEC starting to shift. Because you mentioned it used to be great defenses. And part of that was they were playing against really non-creative offenses. It was very your traditional, almost quarterback under center, running back behind you. Let's just run it ahead. And so I always thought the defenses were kind of skewed, although they were still great defenses. Don't get me wrong, because then when they would play other teams, they would do well most of the time. But even Nick Saban talked about, teams that gave him fits were teams that went up tempo. And that's why Auburn with Gus Malzahn always gave him fits.
And Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel. And then as soon as they adapted to that, Alabama started taking off even more than they already were. They were already great. Yeah. And I think other teams were like, whoa, if Alabama's doing this, we got to do it too. And then, it kind of snowballed where all these teams are now doing it. And now a lot of quarterbacks are going there that are elite quarterbacks. Think of the quarterbacks that Alabama had early in the Saban era that were winning. None of them went on to do anything in the NFL. Greg McElroy, A.J. McCarron, great college quarterbacks, did great stuff while they were in college, but they didn't do anything in the NFL. Whereas, Tua, Mac Jones didn't do anything but he was a high draft pick. Like things like that, how much it's changed over the years.
Yeah, this conference has shifted so much. And yeah, the ones, like that 2008, 2009, probably about 2014, it really was just 4 yards in a cloud of dust type of football. I mean, I really thought, and it wasn't the low point, but it was the moment where I was like, all right, these offenses have lost all creativity, was when Leonard Fournette, who was at LSU, and I remember them lining up in a 3 wide receiver set, and the defense only had a safety deep with 10 men on the line of scrimmage, and they still handed it to Fournette. I was like, all right, this is just a running back conference.
Yeah, it was that was their only identity.
Yeah, it was running backs and defenses. And yes, the defense is incredibly talented individual players, but when you're facing, slant routes and halfback dive for 90% of the plays, it's kind of like the outside perception becomes, well, they're not actually having to cover much. But now the offenses are crazy. And you mentioned, Lenoris Sellers, that man is a freak of nature playing quarterback, cannon for an arm, crazy athleticism. And A&M, I don't know what Marcel Reed is going to be as a passer if he develops, but that athleticism back there is crazy. Nussmeier is, as far as quarterbacking goes, the best quarterback in the conference when it comes to processing, throwing, all that. And then you have the unknown of Arch Manning, exactly what that man's going to be. And that's
John Mateer at OU. It was great at Washington State, but that's not the SEC.
Lagway, we not exactly sure what he's going to be. Yeah. All of the high recruits at Bama, whichever one ends up, I know they've named the starter, but who knows how that ends up shaking out over the next couple of years with who they actually ride with. So, it's a murderer's row of offenses now.
Right. And I'm looking at the offensive ratings for Kelly Footy ranked all the offenses. Mississippi State, they came in at number 56. So pretty good spot.
Yeah.
Some of the teams that they're going to play in the non-conference, Northern Illinois is at 132. 117 is Southern Miss. Obviously, Alcorn State's FCS, so they're not going to be on this list. And then I just saw Arizona State a second ago, but I don't see them right now. If I see them, I'll bring them up. But yeah, to start the season, you have some pretty manageable. Arizona State's number 30, but you have some pretty manageable offenses early in the season to get you going, and that's why going 4-0 is a possibility. Are we predicting it? You have to wait till Friday when we make our predictions. But as of right now, we'll see. But that's why you could go 4-0, because you're not playing those elite offenses early. So that means once SEC play starts, that's when those offenses come to play.
Yeah, and you have a couple games because you have Southern Miss start, so you can kind of figure out what this defense is going to be. That's going to be a very interesting game. Obviously, first game of the year is always interesting, but with so many new pieces, we're not entirely sure what this defense is going to look like. So it'll give us an idea of how, they're going to attack offenses. Obviously, they won't show everything because they should be able to handle Southern Miss. But the next week will be the one. Because Arizona State's offense, Sam Leavitt, I think he can be a very good quarterback, see what he can do. Tyson probably going to be a top 20 pick next year. So,
it's might be the best receiver in college football.
Based on early big boards, he's the highest rated going into the draft next year. So
that's not surprising. Yeah, he's a star.
It'll be a little taste of what they're going to face throughout the rest of the season, because Arizona State has a good offense, but it's not to the level that they will face throughout the rest of the season. So it'll kind of show us how they're going to manage to, kind of attack these offenses that are so explosive now.
Yeah, for sure. All right, coming up next, the toughest defenses played in college football. Where does Mississippi State rank when it comes to that? We'll talk about it.
And guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you even tried them, but if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If traditional options haven't worked, Rugiet might be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. You can even read real customer reviews on their site. It's helping a lot of people feel more confident and present in the moment. Head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege and use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiet website for full safety information. And we have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to LockedOnPodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's LockedOnPodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thanks for helping us out.
All right, well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, so we know where Mississippi State ranks in terms of offenses, number 13 in the country. Where do they rank in terms of the best defenses a team will play in the country? Well, they rank number 4. They got a 79.1 rating. Alabama is facing the best defenses at an 81.6 rating, and then Wisconsin. South Carolina is number 3 at 79.2, so just 0.1 above Mississippi State. So, yeah, it's going to be tough offensively.
Yep, here we go again. I mean, and then 5, LSU, 6, Florida, 7, OU, 8, Kentucky, and then Arkansas, Vandy, Auburn, A&M, Georgia, all also on this list. So, again, it's just littered with SEC teams on here. And, yeah, these they're facing some rough defenses. As good as the offenses they will see are, I mean, the defensive schedule is insane. It is, it's rough. Like, you thought being, 13th, 14th on the offenses faced was bad. Well, now you're 4th on defenses. So, this is really breaks down what we've been talking about. This team could be significantly better than last year and see a 1-game improvement in the record just because the schedule's so tough. And it's not just names or, the number next to the name in the preseason rankings. It is like analytically driven. Like, this is a awful schedule to have to play.
Yeah, for sure. And looking at the total defense, he has Mississippi State ranked number 72, which would be a massive jump from the 120 or whatever they were last year. But Northern Illinois, he has higher than them at 63. He does have Southern Miss at 125. So you have Southern Miss, 117 offense, 125 on defense. That's why you have to win that opening game.
Yes.
And I forgot to say the answer to the trivia question last podcast. 2016 was the last time Mississippi State lost a season opener, and that was against South Alabama. It's one of the longest streaks in the country, actually. So I saw some of you had commented that, and I like that tweet. But, yeah, that's why you got to start out strong with that win, even though it's on the road. Get some momentum as you head into that Arizona State game because that's when things get tough because Arizona State's number 29 in defense. So they were 30 in offense, 29 defense. It's just a well-balanced team.
Yeah, they are, and it's a great opening game, really. I mean, is what this is coming down to. I mean, Southern Miss, not going to be very good, but you go on the road, so you're going to get to test your team before the real test happens, and then you got a couple weeks to kind of fix some problems before you start the gauntlet that is this SEC schedule. So it's. Man, I don't know. There's so many different ways. It is every list that has come out, every type of stat, analytical breakdown, anything. It just makes the schedule seem harder and harder. And, when we first started talking about the schedule, we were like, yeah, this team wins 3 games. Maybe they find a 4th. And then it became, I think they'll win 4. Maybe they'll find 5. And then we were like, there's an outside chance at 6. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, would 3 wins be a great season? Like,
well, it's funny because like you said, like when we look at the schedule, we know it's tough. Like, you know, it's just on face value, the teams you're playing, like, it's a tough schedule. Like, we know that. But then you add in, like, giving these rankings of how tough an offense is, how tough a defense is, it puts it in even more perspective of how tough the schedule is. And it's easy to say, yeah, I mean, we know the schedule's tough. But when you look at it this way, this shows how tough it really is and why. Like, I've seen people say, I don't care how tough the schedule is. You got to win, 4, 5, 6 games, whatever it is. And I get that. And I don't want to be like a homer and say, hey, no, they don't have to do all that stuff. They need to, like, win 4 games and show progress. I'm not saying that. But this shows you, like, they are playing one of the most difficult schedules in college football because they're playing some top offenses and top defenses in the sport. That's going to be tough that's tough for any team, but that's tough for a rebuilding team.
Oh, it's incredibly tough. And yeah, when you see they're this highly rated on both tough offenses and defenses, it shows that you're not going into games where it's like, oh, this defense is really good, but they're playing a bunch of like really good defensive teams, but none of them have the firepower on offense to where it's like, well, if we can break through on just a couple big plays, throw a few trick plays at them, maybe we steal one. This is just, it's rough. And, that Kelly Ford rankings, he also had the number 12 power rated team, like expected win totals against schedules.
Right.
Mississippi State was 7.3, which means like 12th best team pretty much should win 7 games.
Right.
From the schedule. And
that's tied for second in the country with Florida. Only Arkansas is higher at 7.1.
I was like, and I don't know if this is breaking news, but I don't think Mississippi State's the 12th best team in the nation. So
no, they're not.
So anyone who's saying that like you need to win 6-7 games, like it's not a miracle, but you're asking for a ton from a team that is rebuilding, breaking in a ton of new pieces. I mean, it's still a second-year head coach. I mean, we both think Levy, given time and NIL resources, can turn this thing around. But very few coaches walk into being a head coach and are great at it immediately. So that can also take some time. It is just, I think we're going to see a lot of improvement on the field, and that may make this season even worse because we are going to see that the team is better, but we're not going to see, significant improvements in terms of results.
And I want to put this in perspective. Landon mentioned it just a second ago. The 12th best team in the country is predicted to win 7 games with Mississippi State's schedule. The 12th best team is Michigan, according to his rankings, Kelly Ford rankings. Mississippi State's 57th on those rankings. So put that in perspective. The 12th best team would win 7 games with Mississippi State's schedule, and Mississippi State is 57th. That's why you got to temper the expectations. Like, and I understand, like, hey, well, it's their fault for them being so low in the rankings. Well, to an extent, yes, but when you have, obviously your coach tragically passes away and several players transferred after that. Some decided to stay and play for Arnett, and as soon as Arnett was let go, then they were like, yeah, I got to transfer. Like, you lost so many key players, and it was so bad last year that you could barely practice. You didn't have a scout team. You barely had a second unit. Like, this coaching staff had a lot to rebuild.
Yeah, there's a ton to rebuild, and I think they're coming out of the rebuild. I mean, it may take a while. We're going to have to get lucky and get an easy schedule to maybe see some of the fruits of that rebuild, but it's going to be better. The defensive line has depth now. The offensive line is heading in a great direction. There's some good receivers, different types, speed, bigger bodies, some route runners, the running game, bunch of good running backs back there. There's some hope for the future of the quarterback. Like we said, we think Shapen is pretty much just your slightly above average starting NCAA quarterback. Nothing wrong with him, but not great. So I think the product on the field is going to be better, but finding wins along this schedule is going to be hard. It is going to be very hard.
Yeah, for sure. All right, coming up next, we'll give our top dog of the week. Don't go anywhere.
Well, August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions, so whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. So take a flyer on the MVP race. For me, I'm going to go Joe Burrow. I think the defense is very bad like it was last year. But I think they're going to have a little bit better season because I think he's going to put up some massive numbers. I think he'll probably be MVP. And if you want an extra one, Offensive Player of the Year might be Jamar Chase because I think he's going to catch a lot of balls, might win the Triple Crown. Again, I believe he won it last year. My champion, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I think they have the best team. I saw a deal the other day that they were the only team in the top 3 or 5 in every position group. So I think the Ravens will finally get it done. I really like Lamar Jackson's team and his chances. Now, my dark horse division winner, I'm going to go with Dallas. I'll go with Dallas, and I'll go with Dak Prescott leading the way. No one's really talking about them. Obviously, the Eagles won the Super Bowl, so they get all the publicity. But I really like Dallas. Commanders are another one that a lot of people like, but I like Dallas in that division. So visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bet now because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, Landon, who is your top dog of the week? Outside of the bye week, this is our last week of not giving a player of the game, basically, award.
Yeah, and so kind of went outside the box here. This is actually something I missed a week ago, so this is kind of a week overdue for this guy being top dog of the week. And this is former Bulldog javelin thrower Curtis Thompson for winning the Central America Caribbean Championship with a throw of 87.24 meters or a little over 286 feet. So congrats to him. Went a little outside the box there. Shout out to the True Maroon Facebook group. Those guys, a lot of diehard fans, are always posting great stuff. Yeah. One of them actually posted that. So shout out to Foster Buckley for throwing that up there. I had missed it, and then I missed it when it actually came up. So a week overdue, but that's awesome. I mean, throwing anything that far is insane, but throwing a spear almost 300 feet is wild.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. Congrats to him. Also, mine is outside the box as well. I'm going to go with Greg Sankey because we got the 9-game conference schedule. That's something that we said that we thought was going to happen and we thought would be a good idea. Then it seemed like it wasn't going to happen, and all these things started snowballing. We got the issues, we understand the issues that people had with it, but overall, it just made too much sense to go to it. And one thing that we talked about before was every conference just needed to get on the same page, either do 8 or do 9, but every conference needed to do that. You've got 3 of the 4 Power 4 conferences doing that. I think ACC is the only one that's not. I think there's still 8 games. But outside of that, 3 of the 4 are all in the 9 game. And so this is a step in the direction of at least getting people on the same page, which is awesome. That's what needs to happen in college football. Because because one thing the Big Ten has been arguing about the SEC was, hey, when we get to the college football playoff, we just played 9 straight Big Ten teams. Mm-hmm. That's tough. We're worn out, and yet we are still winning the national championship the last 2 years. What? Although the Michigan one, up for debate, since they finally got their sanctions on there. But no, I actually have a take about that, and that's they were caught cheating, and they fired everyone on that staff, not everyone on the staff, but everyone that was involved. And they weren't cheating when they actually went on the run to win the championship because they were caught already. They had to stop. They couldn't keep doing it. But I understand the backlash. But so what I was saying is, I just think that now the SEC can say, well, we got 9 conference games too. Yeah. But you can't keep making that excuse or keep making that reasoning. We think we play the best teams already, and now we're adding a 9th game, another SEC opponent. So it'll be interesting to see how they do their scheduling too.
Yeah, that's what I'm interesting. And yeah, I almost went with Greg Sankey, but kind of figured you might, and I stumbled across that other one, so I thought it would be a good time to shout out some former Bulldogs. Also a lot of former Bulldogs doing good things in Major League Baseball right now. Nathaniel Lowe just got claimed for the Red Sox. He's come up with some big hits. Jake Mangum's doing good things for the Rays. A lot of Bulldogs flying through the minors right now. So, yeah, I mean, before we get too deep into football, shout out some former guys, kind of doing some roundup for everything we missed, getting ready for football and about to really get deep into football, which I cannot wait for. But
yeah, I'm excited for that. Coming up tomorrow, I believe, as long as things are still the same way, Levy should have his weekly press conference later on today. So we will break down those notes tomorrow. We will not break down the notes. We'll break down the notes. We'll break those down tomorrow about what all he has to say about Southern Miss as we start gearing up for Saturday's kickoff, 11 a.m. kickoff. So and on the road. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We get to introduce our content calendar that we've been working on all week,
kind of
for the last couple of weeks. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun talking about different stuff. Obviously, there's some stuff on there that we can't talk about. Well, I guess we can because there was week 0 games. I was about to say one of the topics was recapping some of the games that's happened nationally. I guess there was week 0, so we could talk about those a little bit. So, yeah, a lot of fun stuff. Glad football's here. Finally got stuff to talk about and not just off-season stuff. I enjoy off-season and all the talking stuff, but it gets to the point. Yeah, it gets to the point for me where I'm like, let's just get the games going. Like, I'm tired of this person saying Mississippi State's going to be really improved. This person saying they're going to suck. Let's just do it. Like, let's just have the season and see where it falls. But
can't wait.
All right. Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith, his latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most important fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. I'm Jaron. Check out my work over at Athlon Sports. That's Landon. Follow us, Locked On Mississippi State. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We post daily videos Monday through Friday, so check those out. Also, hit that like, subscribe, ring the bell. Help us get closer to our YouTube subscriber goal. We have a goal of 1,000 subscribers by early college football season. We passed the 800 mark last week. And we're inching closer, I believe, to the 850 mark. I'd have to look at it. So we're doing really good. And it's all thanks to you guys. But yeah, keep us rolling. And until next time, Hail State.
Hail State.